So David Goggins was born in 1975 in New York. So he was raised in New York. He had a pretty rough childhood. He had some physical abuse, it was a very poor upbringing, unfortunately. And so this kind of set the stage for where he's at now. These little early life challenges encouraged him to push past and then build up a little bit of I don't know, like a mental toughness to him. So his early childhood wasn't the greatest, but it's really cool to see how he changes through over time and to see where he's at now.
Yeah, his military career he initially failed his ASVAB test required to join the Air Force, but eventually passed after intensive study. He started his military career in the Air Force Tactical Air Control Party, known as TACP, but was medically discharged due to some type of cell trait that he had, sickle cell trait.
Yeah, sickle cell is pretty rough. I learned about that growing up a little bit, where it's like your blood has some sort of, it's like your blood is sharp and like you can bruise easily and stuff. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what he had, but it's called like sickle cell anemia, and it's just like, it's not good. So it makes like any physical activity kind of dangerous. I mean, from seeing where he's at now in his life, I don't really know what level of sickness it was that he had. It isn't very good stuff. After leaving the Air Force, Goggins found himself working as a pest control fumigator. So that's kind of the pivotal moment for him. He gained 300 pounds. He was super unfit, and I mean, going from being fit in the Air Force to weighing 300 pounds is a huge change. It was during this point that he had a bit of an epiphany. So he realized he wanted to change his life. It seems like that's how it is, right? You hit rock bottom and you're like, I'm done. I'm going to change things. And so that's when he saw this documentary about the Navy SEALs.
Oh no, that's like one of the big things right there. I couldn't imagine being 300 pounds. That would just drive me nuts.
I weighed like 205 at my highest, and that was rough for me. I'm down to 155 now, and it's like a huge difference. Just I couldn't imagine 300.
Yeah, it's crazy. He saw the SEALs, and he saw how disciplined they were, how physically disciplined they were, and their mental state, and he desired to become like that. So the SEALs represented everything he wanted to become: strong, disciplined, and capable of facing any challenge. This realization, it ignited a fierce determination within him to not only lose the weight and get in shape, but also to conquer the mental barriers that had confined him. And that's pretty important right there too, because we can be in shape and look like fantastic, but if you don't have your mind in shape, all that mental and physical strength is it can become useless. But Goggins lost over like 100 pounds in less than 3 months, which is pretty incredible, so that he could meet the Navy's stringent physical requirements. That's pretty neat. Could you imagine losing 100 pounds in 3 months?
Yeah, dude, that probably takes a toll on your body. I think I was only losing, like, when I was losing my weight, it was like 20 pounds tops a month. Like, and that was high. It was like 5 pounds a week was a high for me, and it was like 2 pounds. But I mean, 100 pounds, that's a lot. Yeah, so after his military career, Goggins found a new battlefield in endurance sports. So he's been doing ultra marathon running, ultra distance cycling. I mean, we have all seen his content on social media of him. Like, I love the reels where it's like, I've been running for like he runs to the moon or something like that. He beats Elon Musk to Mars and just by running. So he runs a lot. He's definitely in shape. He's completed over 60 ultra marathons, triathlons, ultra triathlons, and often finishes in the top 5. And then he broke a world record for the most pull-ups done in 24 hours in 2013. That's pretty notable as well. It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he ran like in one go, I think he ran 100 miles. He didn't stop. And like at the end of his 100-mile run, like I can't remember if it was like a doctor that he had there on site, but he was like, "Don't give me anything. Don't give me anything. I just want to sit here and enjoy this." And I thought that was pretty cool. One of the marathons that they do, I think it's called like the Badwater Marathon, which is I think 135 miles to go. I think it's like an ultra marathon, and it's like uphill. It's rough terrain, but it's pretty intense. Not a whole lot of people. I don't think a whole lot of people complete it. Yeah,
You
pretty.
also got to be on another level to try to do a 135-mile marathon.
Yeah. So that could take, like, I don't know how long it took him to run 100 miles in a row. I think it was over. I think it was around 18 to 24 hours. So imagine 135 pacing yourself. That's a If you stop to take a break. I don't know how many breaks you're allowed to take or what you're allowed to do, but that's like a 2-day thing.
Uh,
So Goggins, he picked up his incredible life story and philosophy of pushing past perceived limits have made him a sought after motivational speaker and author. His memoir, Can't Hurt Me, Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds, published in 2018, has inspired millions with its message of self discipline, mental toughness, and resilience. Through his speaking engagements and social media, Goggins encourages people to face their fears, overcome their limitations, and pursue their highest potential. I actually reposted one of his videos. I think it was one I was just talking about how he's just, I want to feel this pain, I want to go through this toughness, I want to I want to be able to sit here and just enjoy the pain. And that's something that I say quite often is, people need to learn to enjoy pain, um, and have a relationship with it. Because if you're going to like bow out at every little sign of pain, you're really not going to make it very far, anywhere. So the more pain you can take, the better off you are.
I came across this reel, and I think it was really interesting where the speaker was saying that as you make decisions, you rewire your brain slightly. So if you give up consistently when it gets hard, your brain will rewire to just consistently give up. Like like once you start down the path, your brain just recognizes it and then makes decisions based off of that or something like that. So it was like really interesting where it's like if you can train yourself just to push a little bit further, like just even in the gym a little bit, like that transfers everywhere else, you know,
Hmm.
in that little decision to keep going transfers everywhere else. And that's really, I bet that's one of the things that Goggins has done is that like he's he's pushed just a little bit harder every time, or just like flat out not giving up. And eventually his body just doesn't know what giving up is like, right?
Yeah.
Uh, because I want to say he failed the he failed like 3 times and trying to get into the SEALs. Like he didn't get in his first time. Like it was multiple times and multiple failures that he had to keep doing. I'd have to look it up, but it was a certain week or something like that that he had to do multiple times to actually even get in. So Goggins following his purpose, like how his life applies to purpose. I think it's really cool how he went from an abused childhood, not giving up, and to now having been a Navy SEAL, been in the Air Force, running a ton of and doing a ton of like athletic feats, right? To
Hmm.
where it's now it's like the difference between accepting your fate and then trying to change it, right? Because like if you grow up with an abusive home, I feel like like you hear the stories, the easy thing is just to become the victim, right? But then
Yeah.
you see the other side where it's like, no, my purpose is something else. I'm going to help. I'm going to do the exact opposite. I will not be the victim, and that's just so cool. So cool to see.
That's one of the great things about like, oh, I can't remember what podcast I saw it on, but there was like these two women. One was in jail, twins. One was in jail, and one was a like successful lawyer. And they were sitting there trying to figure out like what in the world made this? Because they both had the same parents, same good parents, grew up in a good home. But one like went drastically the wrong way and one went the right way. And so like they sat them both down and interviewed them to try to see how each one thought and to see the difference in their thinking. And there was one line that they both caught was that was the same, and they both said it the exact same was, what other choice did I have? And so like they limited their choices, like, no, this is what I had to do. And that's what wound her up in prison. And the other one was like, no, this is what I had to do to make it. And that one wound her up in prison. And so a lot of times it's our lack of seeing all the choices that we have. And so, and I think that's a lot of time, like when we're overweight, where whatever your struggle is you think there's only one option or one choice. It's like, no, 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 you got several ways you can go. And you don't want to limit to yourself to, well, this is the only choice I had. It's like, no, there's all kinds of different ways you could go. So don't limit yourself.
Yeah,
But
that's, that's absolutely the truth, because I've referenced this multiple times, but like this podcast I used to listen to a lot called Morbid, where it talked about like just um like old like serial killers and all that stuff. And there's a couple of women that run it, and it's a really entertaining show. It's really huge now, but it tells like the stories and how it like affected people. And then like there's a couple of women that were affected by this. I want to say it was like a kidnapper, and it was he did a lot of other things too, and it was just kind of a horrible story. But coming out of that, like the one woman decided to just like be the victim, and then the other one started a foundation for to help awareness and wrote a book and all that. And it's just crazy to see like two paths like, at the end of one
yeah,
point. And obviously we don't know their entire situations and how,
right.
you know, how they were affected, but it's just interesting to see the stories and to be able to see how people, chose. So it's like you can either learn by experience or you can learn by listening to others, right? It's interesting to be able to
Yeah.
see other people's journeys.
Yep. So Goggins' journey from a troubled childhood, and he became to become a symbol of extreme perseverance and mental toughness. It illustrates how one can channel adversity into a source of strength. And so his entire life embodies the principle that limits are often self-imposed, and that with determination and hard work, one can achieve the seemingly impossible. And so, and that, it just sums up that you're the one that sets your limits.